So I wanted to share with you the diagnostic assessment that I used with my 12th graders. It was to prepare them for an IB Paper 2, which is comparative commentary. So starting by looking at the assessment itself, students had a prompt and were asked to write a paragraph. The data is coming from their individual scores on this rubric, which is divided into 5 different skills. So as I graded their work individually, which can be seen here on Classroom, you can look at an individual student's rubric. These check marks here I chose to enter into a spreadsheet to make it a little easier for me to keep track of. I know that I want to use this same rubric for several assessments, so I'm just going to add sheets down here as time goes on, and I'll be able to merge them at the end of the unit to see how they're progressing in each particular area. So here I've got the students and their scores for each category, and I chose to generate a chart to make it a little easier to visualize this data and where they were weakest. Looking at this chart, it became pretty clear, especially to me right away, that this middle category was the lowest average for the whole class. Alright, those of you that are less visual could have seen that easily with the number as well. So I knew right away for my class goal, I wanted to guide them towards this criterion C, appreciating stylistic features and their effects. Okay, well, the scores weren't terrible. They were still below 3 level, which is generally a good goal to get a passing score on the essay overall. I also created a second graph just to visualize student performance and how their 5 categories led to their scores. This helps me see outliers in terms of who is exceeding really well, who is pretty much ready for the final assessment, and who would be in need of some additional support work to encourage her and challenge her further. And I can also identify some students that are scoring fairly low across the board that might be in need of some remediation. Okay, so by looking at this data, even from one diagnostic assessment, I can already target a few specific students that I want to keep my eye on, and I can already set a goal for my entire class. In terms of what I shared with students, obviously I would not show them that whole spreadsheet. They got their individual comments and rubric scores, but then I also published here on Classroom just the anonymous whole class results. And they were able to see right away what I had predicted would be the case, that criterion C was an area where we needed to focus. So how do we move forward with that? I led them to see our whole class goal, and then from their individual rubrics, students could see where they in particularly did poorly. Some just did poorly on this one understanding of effects of stylistic feature category, but there were other students that had more specific feedback, things to improve about their structure, things to improve in terms of grammar, things to improve in terms of just understanding of the text themselves. So the personalized feedback plus the whole class feedback allows both the class and the individuals to set appropriate goals. And this spreadsheet becomes very powerful for me to track their improvement with these same skills over time. They'll take this exam in May, and my goal is to have 5 or 6 sheets on this spreadsheet so I can see how they have or have not grown in each of the 5 skill categories.